Welcome, everyone. This is Eric L. Dunavant, the Mindset Disruption Strategist. We are here for another episode of Redefining Success. And joining me today is Swire Ho, hashtag the promo guy. I had the pleasure of getting to be on his podcast, the Small Business Show, probably about 3 months ago. And it was such a great time. I had to have Swire come over here and make sure that my audience got a chance to just hear his story and know a little bit more about the work that he's doing. So Swire, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me on today, Eric.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time. But before we get into the show, let me just start with my first question, which is always the same. It's a Saturday afternoon. I've got the barbecue grill fired up. I've invited all of my friends over. My friends are my listeners. Would you please just introduce yourself to my friends?
Hello, friends. My name is Swire Ho. I'm the co-founder of Garuda Promo and Branding Solutions. We're a promotional product company here in Los Angeles. And what I like to tell everyone about what I do is I help people grow sales, retain employees, and thank their customer with customer branded product. In my personal life, I'm a fitness enthusiast. I am a kettlebell and barbell certified instructor by StrongFirst. And with my free time with the family, both my kids are in Scout. So we're outdoor type of family. We like camping. We like, hiking. So a lot of stuff to do and running around all day, every day.
How old are your kids?
My son is a senior in high school. My daughter is in 7th grade. So still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, you got a little bit of ways to go. We won't spend too much time on this, but that senior, that transition of losing one is one that I don't know that any of us are ever ready for as parents.
I'm feeling that right now.
I bet. I imagine the next 6 to 8 months are going to be full of emotion. And I only say that because I've lived that in the last 3 years twice.
Wow.
So I know a little bit more about that. Swire, as you look, we're at the beginning of 2023. It's a brand new year. As you kind of look at your life, you look at things that are going on. What are you passionate about right now?
I always like to set goals, especially for the beginning of the year. And I'm a very goal-oriented person. And my mantra is always, how can I do more with less? That goes with the business, the life, and the fitness that we have. How can I use the resources that I have? Because I run a small business, resources are limited compared to a large company. So how can I make use of what I already have and to make the maximum impact? So that's always the challenge and the exercise that I go through for my life and all the way to the business.
What were some of the big goals you've set? I mean, what are some of the, not big so much in size, but maybe the most focus that you're putting on? Which are the highest focus goals that you've got this year?
For myself or for the business?
Let's start with for you.
I like to set fitness goal. Last year, the only thing that I haven't scratched off on my list was to do a one-arm push-up. So I'm definitely going for that this year. And then there are some weight that I would like to hit on my weightlifting. So I'm definitely going for that. And I think the reason why I bring this up for the goal setting is because there are goals that you set in the beginning of the year, you think that I'm never going to achieve it, or you're doubting yourself that, along the way there are setbacks or you might not get there. But somehow if you work on it, amazingly, most of the time, I would say 90% of the things that I put on the list, I'm able to achieve. But hard work, sometimes it's sacrifice, right? Sometimes you need to do additional things in order to reach your goal. Is at the end is, how bad do you really want to achieve those goals?
Yeah. Since we're talking about goal setting, it's the beginning of the year. This is kind of what comes up for me. What has been maybe the biggest goal that you've set that maybe when you started, you weren't even sure you could accomplish it? And maybe you even kind of amazed yourself. When you looked back, you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that, but you did.
Yeah, 2023 will be a special year because I began my entrepreneur journey 20 years ago. So I actually did not want to become an entrepreneur. I was kind of forced to become an entrepreneur. On the day of my honeymoon, I found out that the company that I worked for at the time went out of business. So I'm married. I had no job. So what am I going to do? So I decided to pick up a little bit bits and pieces of what I've learned from the old company and started my first business now 20 years later. So I think 2023 is going to be special for me.
Wow. Wow. So what was that? What business did you start 20 years ago?
If you're old enough like me, you still remember CDs and DVDs. So
Yep.
I'm in LA. I was working at a recording studio back then. So it had some connection in the entertainment industry. So at that time, people still buy CDs and DVDs. And it is still an industry when you replicate and we make copies of CD, DVDs for record labels and film companies. So it was a good business then. And then along the way, we dabble into the promotional product industry when people go on tours, when they want to walk the red carpet. That's how I got into the promotional product industry. So lucky, in hindsight, it's lucky. In 2013, we sold the CD DVD part of the business to our competitor and focused exclusively on promotional product. So looking back, that was a good move.
Yeah, that was a great move. That was a great move. What brought you to the United States?
I wanted to be in the entertainment industry, but I don't sing, I don't act, I don't model. So recording industry, that is.
But so where you were living, I think I read you're living in Hong Kong.
Yes.
So what makes you decide, or what brought you here? What made you that instead of doing that in Hong Kong, you wanted to come do that in the United States? You want to come do that in LA? What happened there?
It's the best place to be. LA is all about entertainment, all the film industry, all the music industry, everything happens in LA. So when I decided to come here, I didn't exactly wanted to be in the recording engineer, but then looking at what's available to me, what I can do with the skill sets that I have, that seems to be a good fit for me at that time. But, if you will have me do it again, I'll probably won't do it. No. If I'm doing it now.
Did you know your wife yet when you moved here?
No,
we met her in the
States. Yeah, we met here in LA.
Okay. What was the hardest thing you had to overcome when you moved here?
I think the language, obviously, is a big one because we learn English in class, right? But then you learn about written English. But then when people talk to you, even when people say, "What's up?" to me, like, what does that mean? Right. So those little phrases, and even for my kids, I think I'm relearning because you have a lot of slangs, you have a lot of terms that are not in the textbooks. I'm now picking up with the conversation that my kids had with their friends, and also with conversation that I've had with other American friends that I know. So I think those are still things that I'm trying to overcome whenever I talk to someone new.
So you're doing promotional products. You're running your own podcast now. Tell me a little bit, how did you get into the podcast world?
It started right when the pandemic hit. So as you know, I talked about the story 20 years ago, started my business. There's so many loopholes, so many mistakes that I made. So the reason I wanted to create the Small Business Show is to find expert, like yourself, Eric, to talk about their expertise. So hopefully the listener will pick up on the episode and they don't have to go through the same mistakes that I made. It could be, how do you form a company legally? How do you do your accounting? How do you hire the correct person? How do you do your website marketing? So I think every episode serves a purpose of, if I know this 20 years ago, I probably will be better. And you saved me. I hope the expert who come on will save you 5 years, by listening to the episodes. And sometimes I learn a lot, right? From talking to different people, and I get better too, and get more comfortable speaking and even talking about things that are in my mind right now.
Yeah. As you look back over your life, what do you think the biggest obstacle is that you've overcome?
I like to set goals. I like to do things, but I think sometimes you need to sit back and not do things. So I'm still working on that because there are a lot of opportunities out there, and there's a lot of things that I could do, right, in every aspect of my life. But sometimes as I get older, it's not things that you do, it's things that you don't do sometimes.
What's the biggest thing you've had to not do lately?
Learning and keep learning is when customer talk, you don't talk, right? The more that they talk, the better chance that you get the business. Think about it this way. If you are presenting, if you're putting your slideshow, like in my business, if I dump all my promotional product to them, they probably run away. But if I turn the table and ask them, what would you like to buy? What would you like to have? What are your goals and objectives? If they are able to share with me what they wanted to do, I'm sure that I have something that could fit within what they're looking for. It could fit into a lot of different businesses. So when you talk to people, especially in business, let them talk 80% and you talk 20% or less.
So you're talking about trying to save 5 years on business and things like that. What do you feel like from the time that you kind of really got into the promotional products business and you look back now, what has been one or two things that you wish you would have known when you started, like the big things that you wish you would have known when you started your business that would have really made a big difference?
I'm staying with the one that I just described. Customer is always right. In the beginning, because I'm passionate and I'm standing firmly with the company. I would argue with client when they say, okay, the color is a bit off, or, I just don't feel the same way that you feel the product. And I get defensive and I start to argue with them. I might win the argument. I am maybe better to know the product than they are, but then I lose the client. So would you rather win the argument or keep the client? So I think this is constant reminder every single day. Like, they might not be right, but they are the customer.
That's right. Tell me a little bit about this kettlebell certification. How did you even find that as a thing to go do? And then so it's one thing to say, hey, I like working out with kettlebells, but it's another thing to say, no, I want to go get certified. So how did that journey occur?
Yeah, it's funny how I stumbled on to kettlebell training. I was reading Tim Ferriss' book, The 4-Hour Body, and he actually mentioned that because, like, I like Tim Ferriss because he tried on different things for himself, and then he summarized the best of each thing. So then you could quickly look at that in 30 seconds, then is this something for you or not? So he actually trained with kettlebell with Pafo Tasulan, which is the chairman of StrongFirst. And then I'm intrigued, with all the benefits that kettlebell can bring. So I started to train with kettlebell, and then I'm hooked, and I really like doing that. So I decided to become a certified kettlebell trainer about 3 years ago now. So it's been fun, and like to do that almost every day.
So are you, being a trainer, are you training other people, or did you do it primarily so that you would be better at it for yourself?
At first, it's about myself, but people know that this is a thing that I could do. They will ask me a question, and sometimes I'll help them train better to develop. I like goal setting. Maybe it's scary if you don't know what a kettlebell swing is. Google it and watch it on YouTube. It looks scary and intimidating, right? If you don't know how to do it, but with new things that we do, if you keep on doing it, maybe a week or 2 weeks, you have the basics. And if you keep doing it all the time, then you become better and better. So I think it's a skill that can be learned.
When you're hashtag the promo guy, we talked a little bit about that. What is the number one thing? So people come in and they say, hey, I want to get some promotional products, or I want to do some things. And I know listening to the customer definitely is important, but with all the knowledge and wisdom that you have, what are the things that you wish people knew or understood more when they go to order promotional type products?
That's a good question. And I wish that we had that conversation every day with the client, because they'll come in, they want to buy something, but I'm trying to be helpful and ask them question. Why would you like to buy that? What do you think that, what are you hoping to achieve? And they couldn't answer me. Everyone have pants, so we have pants, and everyone get tote bags. We have tote bags. The reason, why we do social media posts, why we have a website, why we do our SEO is you wanted to strengthen the relationship with the client and your brand, because the more that they can see and touch and see your name recognition, the better that they register in mind. If I mention, for example, coffee, a luxury car, maybe a dream vacation, we already have a picture in mind with what it is. So a promotional product is a tool, an item that can enhance that feeling. maybe, let's use a musician, right? I go to my favorite musician concert. They selling you t-shirt at $50, and you know that it doesn't cost $50 to do it, but everyone still buy that t-shirt because they have that emotional connection with that band. So for a company who asks me what is the perfect item, and I get that question asked every day, think about your recipient. Don't think about what you wanted to buy. Think about what they want to receive. And they wanted to use it every single day. And once you send them the item, they're going to show it everybody, just like you wear your band t-shirt after the concert the next day. So there are going to be items like that. And we can go into deeper question to found, what the perfect item will be.
What's the craziest promotional item? Like the one that somebody came in and you did that maybe even you didn't expect that it was going to work so well, but what's kind of one of some of the craziest that you've done?
Well, we're in LA, we work with some Hollywood type event planner. So they have the celebrity, the crazy party that you see on TV show. Those are real. So we actually were asked to do 3 cups, party cups. So there are 3 colors. I forgot what color it is, but the first color is I'm available.
Okay.
And then the second one is I'm not available. I'm taken, right? I'm taken. And then the third one is complicated. So by holding that cup with whatever beverage you have in it, so you can tell everyone around the party what your status are. So I think that was fun. There was, using a cup, like it could be boring, everyone have cups, but by using that color and the combination, it sparks so much conversation, especially if you're holding the complicated one. Right. And then you kind of invite conversation. So I think that was a regular item, but then the idea was very fun.
Yeah. Yeah. What about items? Have you had anybody put promotional on items that are just kind of out of the norm, of which most people don't think of?
I think the promotional item industry is changing every day, and what's new today, it will be out tomorrow. So I think people like to put the fidget spinner, before, and then they just spin crazy. I have people come to me, they really want to buy it, and then they said everyone at the office are spinning it. So I think that was a good item for a while, and I really like that because it changes the way people think about item that they could play around in the office.
Yeah. As you kind of look at growing your podcast, growing your business, and growing everything else, like if you could go speak to the you that was coming over in 1996, what would you say? What would you say to him?
Well, that person probably won't listen, but what I'm going to try to tell him is, there are setting goals is important. So you have goals that maybe you have set 5 years or even 10 years ago. And, in your show, you're talking about, having a legacy, right? Setting goals that you hope for a generation to come to have that goal. But you need to work on those. You need to maintain a certain level, of work ethics to hit the goals. What about setting small goals? Maybe you're trying to quit smoking. Maybe it's just don't buy a pack of cigarettes. Maybe you're trying to, going back to the gym today. So one day at a time, you don't have to go crazy and burn yourself out and be done with it. Set smaller goals. And when you're able to achieve those smaller goals, you celebrate like crazy. Then you give yourself confidence. And I think you're not in this alone. Tell all your friends that this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to quit smoking and I'm trying to go back to the gym. Now I'm ready. So then you'll be surprised that people are actually out there to support you. And you're actually telling everyone, I'm going to, quit smoking or drinking today. And so don't give me any more. So you actually, celebrate, make small goals and celebrate your small goals.
Oh, I love that. That's why we're going to run out of time here pretty soon. It's been a great conversation. Before we do, is there anything that you wanted to make sure you got a chance to talk about today, but I didn't ask you the question? Just anything you wanted to share with the audience? Anything else?
Well, I think I'm glad that we did this, recording in the beginning of the year. So I think really set goals. If you haven't already done so for the year, look at what you have and set medium goals, set small goals, or just set any goals. And I think it will be, you're something you're holding yourself accountable, especially if you're setting up bigger goals that you might or might not wanted to finish it. Tell everyone about it. So now you are on the table. You have to do that because you told everyone about it. So
Yeah.
figure out what you want to do and go do it.
I love that idea. We were talking about that with our team earlier today, which what you're emphasizing is this concept I love, which is simplicity over complexity. Don't make it so hard that you can't do it. And your small goals idea, I really think is valuable for everyone who's listening. So if people want to get in touch with you, if they want to listen to the small business show, if they feel like they'd make a great guest on the small business show, who would be a good guest? And then what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, I love to talk to experts in the fields that have a unique approach for their industry, and I also love to talk about the entrepreneur journey, right, for that particular individual. You mentioned my name, Swire Ho, hashtag the promo guy. Google me, putting the exact word, you'll find out all the things that I do, work-wise, life-wise, fitness-wise. So, and I live on LinkedIn, so happy to connect with people on LinkedIn and start networking.
Great. Well, we've come to the end of the show. My last question is always the same. So I've given you a little bit of time to think about it. I'm gonna stall here a little bit more just so that you make sure, because I told you what it was before we started. So in 3 generations, what do you hope your great-grandchildren remember about you?
Well, he liked to set goals, and he is trying his best always to achieve those goals.
That's a good one, especially as we start the year. Swire, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, I'm glad that we got a chance to do this. The rest of you don't know this. We had to reschedule a couple of times. Just things were crazy towards the end of the year. So I'm glad we finally got it done. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. We will be with you again next time. I hope you have a fantastic day. God bless you. Have a great day.